Have you ever felt like life has thrown you into the middle of a storm? But what if I told you that the real storm isn't out there, but within you? And that's not a bad thing. Have you ever had a moment when everything seems to crumble around you? Maybe it was unexpected news, a loss, a mistake you made, or even the feeling of being completely lost. It's as if the sky darkens without warning. The winds start howling, and you realize you're in the eye of a hurricane. The ground beneath your feet seems to give way, and what was once certain is now unknown. In those moments, you probably wondered, will I make it? Do I have the strength to face this? The truth is that the answer has always been within you. Courage isn't born in calm waters. It awakens in the midst of chaos when there's no other choice but to resist. Know that you are not falling apart in the storm. You are becoming who you were always meant to be. It's curious to think about, but bamboo survives hurricanes precisely because it doesn't resist like a rigid tree. It bends. It dances with the chaos. Perhaps the secret isn't to fight the storm, but to learn to dance with it. And what if what you call failure is actually the exact moment you are being forged? Think for a moment. How many times have you faced difficulties before? How many falls have you endured? How many disappointments seemed impossible to overcome? And yet, here you are, breathing, fighting, moving forward. Why? Because there's something within you, something deep and powerful, that simply refuses to give up. The storm is not your enemy. It is a call, a fierce whisper that says, there is more strength in you than you imagine. Fear tries to convince you that you can't. But the truth is that every challenge life has thrown at you has shaped your resilience. Pain teaches, hardships sculpt, and when you least expect it, you realize that amid the storm, there is a strength that cannot be taken from you. Remember this: you are not falling apart in the storm. You are becoming who you were always meant to be. Imagine someone who lost their job after years dedicated to the same company. At first, fear and uncertainty may seem unbearable. But by facing this challenge, this person discovers new skills, explores opportunities previously ignored, and eventually builds a career even more aligned with their values. The storm makes the oak tree root deeper. George Herbert. Pause for a moment and think, what was the biggest storm you've ever faced? How did it change you? Write down or visualize 3 lessons you learned from that experience. If you've been through a storm and found strengths you didn't know you had, share your story in the comments. Your experience can inspire others who are facing challenges now. Leaping into the unknown. How courage arises when you allow yourself to move forward. Whoever leaps does not fall, they fly. Think of a baby learning to walk. They don't make a strategic plan or wait until they're 100% ready. They simply try, fall, get up, try again. Now, look at your life. When did you start believing you needed to be fully prepared before acting? Visual contrast. A baby stumbling versus an adult, hesitating to make a simple decision. Perhaps the fear of falling is just an old memory, and you already know how to fly, you just haven't realized it yet. There is a moment, an exact instant, when everything inside you screams to step back. Your heart races, your hands sweat, and your mind whispers all the reasons why you should wait a little longer. Think more, prepare more. But what if there's never a perfect moment? What if the only thing between you and what you desire is the fear of taking the first step? Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to proceed despite it. Think of a bird that launches itself from a branch before even feeling the wind beneath its wings. It has no guarantee it will fly, but it jumps anyway. And in the midst of the fall, it discovers that the sky has always been there, waiting for it. So are we. We stand paralyzed before the unknown. But the truth is that we only discover what we're made of when we allow ourselves to take the leap. Perhaps you can't see what awaits on the other side. Perhaps the darkness seems scary. But believe this: whoever leaps does not fall, they fly. And whoever dares to move forward always finds paths they never imagined existed. The fear of the unknown is one of the greatest barriers we face when trying to grow or change. The unknown is uncertain, and our minds, programmed to seek security, interpret this uncertainty as a threat. However, it is precisely in the unknown that the potential for transformation lies. Courage does not eliminate fear. It simply chooses to act despite it. This idea is deeply rooted in Stoicism, which teaches that our reactions to events, not the events themselves, determine our experience. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote, "It is not events that disturb the minds of men, but our interpretation of those events. When we face fear as something natural, we stop seeing it as an obstacle and start treating it as part of the process." Imagine someone who has always dreamed of starting their own business, but has put off that dream for years out of fear of failure. Finally, this person decides to leap into the unknown. They start small, learn from their mistakes, and gradually build something meaningful. Even though the path is filled with challenges, each step taken brings clarity and confidence. The initial leap, as scary as it was, reveals that the unknown wasn't as frightening as it seemed. You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. Eleanor Roosevelt, identify an area of your life where you are hesitating due to fear of the unknown. Ask yourself, what is the worst-case scenario and what is the best? Write down these scenarios and reflect on how you can deal with both. Remember, the first step is always the hardest, but also the most transformative. If you've already taken a leap into the unknown and discovered something surprising about yourself, share your story in the comments. Your words can inspire others to do the same. And if you're still hesitating, encourage yourself to take a small step today, even if it's just writing down your intentions. Scars that tell stories. The power of learning from pain and moving forward. Scars are the medals of a warrior who refused to be defeated. In Japan, there is an art called kintsugi, where broken ceramics are repaired with gold. What was seen as a flaw becomes the most valuable part of the piece. What if your scars were like this? What if what you hide in shame was actually the most beautiful trait of your story? You are not broken. You are being beautified by the experiences you have survived. Every scar is a silent testimony of a battle won. They mark the skin, but more than that, they mark the soul. Some are visible, others live hidden within us, but all carry a story, the story of someone who fell, who suffered, but who in the end found the strength to stand up again. Pain never comes without purpose. At the moment, it may seem cruel, overwhelming, as if it is tearing pieces of who you are. But time, that relentless sculptor, transforms each wound into learning. What was once raw suffering becomes resilience, and what seemed like weakness reveals itself as the greatest proof of your strength. Look back. See everything you've faced. Those difficult days that seemed endless have passed, and you are here, stronger, wiser, more prepared. Do not be ashamed of your scars. Display them as medals of a warrior who refused to be defeated. Life does not demand perfection, only the courage to continue. And the most beautiful truth of all is that behind every scar, there is someone who, despite everything, chose to move forward. In Buddhism, there is a practice called mudita, which means compassionate joy. This practice teaches us to see suffering not as an enemy, but as part of the path to growth. When we accept pain as an inevitable part of the human journey, we begin to see its lessons. Suffering, when embraced with awareness, can teach us about patience, compassion, and even gratitude. Taoism complements this idea by highlighting that life is a constant flow of yin and yang, light and shadow, difficulty and ease. Scars represent the moments of shadow that prepare us for the moments of light. They are proof that you have crossed the valley and reached the other side. Think of someone who has gone through a painful breakup. At first, the pain seems unbearable, as if the heart is broken forever. But over time, this person begins to realize that the relationship taught them about themselves, about their limits, and about what they truly desire. The emotional scar becomes a reminder that they survived and grew. Today, they are more conscious, more resilient, and more capable of loving in a healthy way. Scars are the stories of the soul, and stories make us unique. Unknown author. Take a notebook or open a document on your phone. Write about a difficult experience you overcame. Answer the following questions. What did this experience teach me? How did it help me grow? What kind of strength did I discover in myself during this process? Afterward, reread what you wrote. You might be surprised to realize how much you've evolved. If you have a scare, physical, emotional, or mental, that you now see as a symbol of strength, share your story in the comments. Your vulnerability can inspire others to look at their own scars with more compassion and pride. Remember, every scar is proof that you are stronger than you imagine. The weight of fear and the lightness of freedom, transforming insecurity into confidence. Fear is just an old whisper. Fear is like a shadow. It seems huge until you turn on the light. What is paralyzing you now might just be a distant echo of something that no longer exists. And what if what you fear is merely the absence of clarity? What would happen if you looked closer? Fear has invisible hands. It holds your steps, silences your voice, and chains your dreams. It whispers that you are not capable, that the risk is too great, that failure will be unbearable. But what if for a moment you could let go of this weight? Imagine holding a stone. At first it seems manageable, but over time it becomes a crushing burden. Fear works the same way. It accumulates, grows stronger, and before you know it, you're carrying a weight that was never meant to be yours. But here's something few realize. Fear only has power as long as you feed it. Confidence does not come from nowhere. It is born every time you face what you fear. It's like opening the windows after years in the dark and realizing that the world is still there, waiting for you. Freedom comes when you understand that you don't need to be 100% ready to act, that perfection is an illusion, and that making mistakes is part of the journey. Let go of fear. It was never yours. Make room for courage to grow, and you will see how life becomes lighter. In the end, what seemed like a leap into the abyss was actually the first step toward freedom. In positive psychology, the concept of post-traumatic growth highlights that people can emerge from difficult experiences not only intact, but positively transformed. This growth often involves developing greater resilience, self-confidence, and clarity about one's values. When we face our fears, we begin to realize that they are merely mental constructs, not absolute realities. Stoicism also teaches us to differentiate between what is within our control and what is not. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, stated, "It is not events themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about them. When we stop giving power to fear, it loses its influence over us." Consider someone who is afraid of public speaking. This fear can seem insurmountable, like an impassable barrier. However, this person decides to face it little by little. They start by practicing in front of a mirror, then with close friends, and eventually volunteer to give a short presentation in a safe environment. Each small victory boosts their confidence. Over time, they realize that the fear hasn't completely disappeared, but it no longer controls their actions. Now they experience the lightness of knowing they can handle any situation that arises. You have within you everything you need to deal with whatever life throws at you. Brian Tracy. Think of a fear that is currently limiting your life. It could be the fear of failure, of being judged, or of stepping out of your comfort zone. Now, ask yourself, what am I missing out on by holding onto this fear? How would my life be different if I overcame this? What is the smallest step I can take today to start facing it? Write down your answers and commit to taking that first step, no matter how small. If you've already managed to transform a fear into confidence, share your experience in the comments. Your story can inspire others to face their own fears. And if you're still in the process of liberation, encourage yourself to take a step today, even if it's just recognizing the fear and telling yourself, "I am greater than this." The hero's journey. How every challenge hides an invitation to your growth. The hero of your journey has always been you. You know all those epic stories you admire? The hero always starts by doubting themselves. Frodo, Luke Skywalker, Moana. They didn't know they were heroes until the moment they had to be. And you? What part of your journey are you in now? Maybe you're just at the beginning of your great adventure. You don't need a cape, a sword, or a prophecy. The call has already been made. Did you hear it? Every great story begins with a call, an unexpected invitation, an insurmountable obstacle. a moment when life demands more than you think you can give. Initially, there is resistance. The hero doubts their own strength, fears the unknown, and wishes to remain where everything is safe. But the journey has already begun, and there is no turning back. What you face today is not a punishment, but a path. Pain, doubt, difficulties, all of this is not here to stop you, but to shape you. Each challenge is a portal to a stronger version of yourself. Like a blacksmith forging a sword, life puts you in the fire, tests your resistance, bends, and reshapes you. And in the end, what emerges is not weakness, but unbreakable strength. Remember all the times you thought you couldn't, and yet kept going. Each battle left a lesson. Each fall taught a new way to stand up. You are not the same person who started this journey. You are growing, becoming someone wiser, more resilient, more ready for what comes next. The hero of your story has always been you, and the challenge that seems too great today will one day be just another page in the book of your courage. The concept of the hero's journey, popularized by Joseph Campbell, is a universal narrative structure found in mythologies, religions, and stories around the world. In this journey, the hero is called to an adventure, faces trials, finds mentors and allies, and returns transformed. This structure is not just a literary tool, it reflects the human journey of personal growth. In Taoism, this idea is expressed through the principle of Wu Wei, non-action. It doesn't mean inaction, but rather flowing with the events of life, accepting them as part of the natural process. When we stop resisting challenges and start seeing them as opportunities for growth, we enter into harmony with the flow of life. Imagine someone who decides to train for a marathon, something they never thought they could do. At first, the body aches, the mind resists, and the fear of failure is constant. But over time, this person begins to realize that every kilometer run is a victory. They learn about discipline, patience, and the importance of celebrating small achievements. On the day of the marathon, they cross the finish line not just as a runner, but as someone who has discovered a new dimension of themselves. The hero is the one who does what needs to be done, even when everyone else runs away. Joseph Campbell. Think of a current challenge in your life. Ask yourself, what skills or qualities can I develop by facing this challenge? How can this experience prepare me for future opportunities? If I look back 5 years from now, how will I feel about having faced this? Write down your answers and visualize yourself as the hero of this story. Remember, you are already in the middle of the journey, even if you can't see the end yet. If you've already gone through a challenging journey and emerged transformed, share your story in the comments. Your experience can inspire others to face their own challenges with courage. And if you're still in the middle of your journey, encourage yourself to keep moving forward. Remember, the hero of your story is you, and every step you take brings you closer to your destiny. The courage you've always had. We've reached the end of this journey, but not the end of yours. Throughout this reflection, we've explored how courage is not something reserved for the heroes of stories or extraordinary figures. It is within you, waiting to be awakened. Every storm, every leap into the unknown, every scar, and every fear faced are proof that you already possess the strength needed to overcome any challenge. Remember, the storm is not your enemy. It is a call to discover the strength that has always been within you. Leaping into the unknown does not mean falling, it means trusting that your wings will open at the right moment. Scars are medals of honor, testimonies of battles won and lessons learned. Fear can be let go, and the freedom that comes with it is lighter than you imagine. You are the hero of your story, and every challenge is an invitation to grow and become an even better version of yourself. Don't wait for perfect conditions or a clear sign from the universe. Life is made of imperfect moments, and it is in these moments that we find our greatest strength. Be kind to yourself during the process. Personal growth is not linear, and it's okay to stumble a few times along the way. The important thing is to keep moving forward, one step at a time. Leave a comment. Share the moment when you realized your own courage or how you plan to apply these teachings in your life. Your interaction can inspire others to reflect on their own journeys. If you enjoyed this content and wish to continue exploring themes like resilience, mindfulness, and personal growth, subscribe to the channel or follow our upcoming publications. We will bring more reflections and practical tools to help you navigate the complexities of modern life with wisdom and courage. Today, take a moment to reflect on what you've learned here. Choose one of the reflection exercises that resonated with you the most and put it into practice. It could be writing about your scars, identifying a fear you want to face, or visualizing yourself as the hero of your own story. Small daily actions can lead to great transformations. The video shows authenticity and vulnerability because I believe that true connection happens when we are genuine. There are no magic formulas or instant solutions, but there is a path that begins with the decision to move forward. Be inspired, but don't compare. Your journey is unique, and every step taken with intention is already a victory. Remember always, the courage you need is already within you. Just trust it. Now tell me, what was the biggest storm you faced, and what did you learn from it? Is there a fear that is preventing you from taking the next step? How can you start facing it today? What scar in your life can you start seeing as a symbol of strength rather than weakness? If this video inspired you, like, comment, and share it with someone who might benefit from this message. Want to dive deeper? Download our exclusive ebook on resilience and personal growth. The link is in the first pinned comment. And don't stop here. Choose one of the videos appearing on the screen now to continue your journey of self-discovery. You deserve this transformation.